Good afternoon, hello everyone, I'm back again with another video on my YouTube channel. You'll see we're back at Spa, starting the race. We've got a couple of Ferraris ahead of us, one behind us, so it's going to be a Ferrari challenge today. We've already passed, okay, we nearly get taken out there at Radion by the Ferrari. There's a bit of banging going on, but today's pretty much all going to be about can we beat the Ferraris, because they obviously seem to be very popular around Spa. Going to try and go down the inside, and I think, is that just another? Okay, not really sure what happened there. So we've had a bit, yeah, right. Okay, this is not going so well. We had a bit of an issue there, where there's a bit of banging going on between that Ferrari. And yeah, we're slowly starting to fall back down the grid now. We're down to 8th. We've got a Bentley right on our tail as well, so that's not very good. And yeah, what are we going to do? So currently got Chamberlain ahead of us in an Audi, and we're slowly, the Audi's losing it. The Audi has gone, Chamberlain has gone, and we're now up behind Hox, let's say, in the Aston Martin. So as we come around, ready for campus, slightly get it a bit sideways there, and the Bentley from Henske's right behind us. So we're losing a bit of ground now to the Aston Martin, but we've got, yeah, so we're 6th place, 13 minutes to go of the race here at Spa. We don't anticipate any change in weather conditions. Chamberlain running a bit wide there, kicking up the grass and the dust, and the Aston Martin really challenging, but they're going to slow each other down a bit. So I've got a bit of free air. That Aston Martin comes steaming down the outside of us, gets it, actually holds it on well, but the Aston Martin spun, so that's Huck's out, and we've got a Ferrari spinning as well, and that's held up Chamberlain in the BMW. So actually we've just passed 3 cars in literally one corner. Don't really know how on earth people were getting that wrong, and unfortunately that's a bit of sim racing for you, is that one car spins on the track and you almost got nowhere to go and you end up getting held up, and that's really played into my advantage now. So I'm now running in 3rd from well, at the beginning of the lap it didn't look good at all, but I'm back up to 3rd. We've got Chamberlain in the BMW behind me now, about 1.5 seconds behind. We've got Hammer ahead of us by just under 3 seconds, and over 6 seconds down the road is Watt in the Mercedes. So we've got to clear an Aston Martin now and a Mercedes with just under 12 minutes to go. So yeah, at the moment, but we're looking at it. Ambrose now has come up behind me in in a Bentley, 3 seconds behind me. So yeah, I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, to be honest. As we go down the hill, and it's just, you know, it's obviously a competitive race. I've lost a lot of spaces at a lot of places at the beginning, and I don't really know where I sort of settle into the rest of the field. I don't know if I'm quicker than those ahead. I mean, that Aston Martin is what is he, 2.7, 2.9 down the road. What looks to be extending his lead now up to 7 seconds. What I also should point out is, although I've done quite a few videos at Spa recently, I've found that the setup that I was using was not very good, and I've now found a really nice setup which allows me to take full advantage of how I like the car. It doesn't understeer, it's really quite responsive, the traction control doesn't kick in too much, and yeah, it's actually a really nice car to drive. Again, whether it's the best car for Spa, I don't really know, but you're looking now as we down to 2 seconds on Hammer ahead of us. So we're finding a tiny bit of time on Hammer, so this could get interesting, because normally I'd say, oh, I'm sure he's had a bad lap or something, but we are gaining on him slowly but surely. I mean, I've got 10 minutes to try and get to him, but he was about 3 seconds down the road. He's now 2. What is also now slowly starting to also come back into... Oh, went a tiny bit wide. He's now under 7 seconds. So we're finding a bit of time on Watt. But... And Amboss is 3.5 seconds. So the top sort of 3 or 4 places are quite consistent at the moment. So I think this is all going to be down to whether or not people start making mistakes and those types of things, or people start feeling the pressure, because that does happen. I've noticed that quite a lot in sim racing, that when you start to close in on someone, they just start to make a few more mistakes because just the pressure builds. And I'll be honest, I do exactly the same. I'd rather be chasing than be chased. So down the hill, so it's staying consistent at the front. Amboss behind in the Bentley is also he's there and thereabouts, but the rest, Breber and Heek, they're nowhere to be seen, so we don't have to worry about them for the moment. But that Aston Martin looks a lot closer now. I mean, we're down to 1.5 seconds. Watt, I think we could pretty much count out Watt now. He's in that Mercedes. He's clearly very, very good at this circuit, and I don't anticipate how we're going to really get him, to be honest. So there's no point. I'll fight, but I'm just sort of not going to get first. So we'll carry on, and we're down to under a second now on Hammer ahead of us, trying to see really where we're going to find the best place to take full advantage. Looks like top speed, we've got the top speed. He's not overly keen and overly confident on the brakes. You can see we're right up behind him. The acceleration though of the Aston Martin's very good. You can see he's pulling away now. And as we come up to La Source, onto lap 3. Very close, but yeah, we'll have a look at the slipstream here. Also, because of Rouge and Radeon, these cars handle very differently up there, and some can almost take it flat, others can't. I can't take it flat in the Bentley. You kind of run wide across there. And how consistent are we? It's 0.5 at the moment, going up to 0.6. We're not really getting, despite a bit of slipstream, we're not gaining that much. Takes it quite nicely through there. So at the moment we're looking about even, I'd say, as we come through Malmaid, and then we're just dropping now all the way down the hill. He tucks it in quite nicely, and he runs quite wide onto that curb. It does take a lot of curb in there, and he runs very wide onto that. So if we'd had some sort of penalty system in place, I think that would be track limits certainly very much exposed. But he's running wide. He's run wide there. So this is going to be interesting now. We've got, yeah, look at how much we're gaining on him. Down to 0.4 as we come under that bridge there. This is where I feel my car was a lot quicker than others. And now we can ride the curbing better. We can also take advantage of that slight ride. Clobbers the curb there. I just allow it to run wide. Can't quite take this flat yet in the Bentley. We just run ever so slightly wide. But now we're coming up through Blanchimont in a minute. And we're 0.5. So 0.4. So we're tiny getting a bit of a slipstream now. He's run very wide, and that's going to really slow him down. So I'm going to take the outside going into the chicane, and he's backed off. I'd almost say he's let me through there, but maybe he just didn't have the run, and I've just passed him with ease. But we're back. We're now up to second place. But what is, yeah, as I say, long way down the road. We'll just wait for the timing screen to sort itself out. Although at the moment he's saying he's spun at La Source, and that is the Mercedes. So we're up to first somehow. Somehow we've gone up to first place. Yeah, okay, it's kind of through default, but the Mercedes spun there at La Source, and that is what, now down to fourth place. dropping all the way down. I think he's almost given up, to be honest. With 5 minutes remaining, we're up to first. We've got Hammer now approximately a second behind, but I'm quite confident with Hammer because I was able to move up behind him and take him, and I feel I can hold him off. It's going to be about the others and whether or not they'll be able to pass him and then start moving in on me. But I've now got 4.5 minutes to try my very best to win this race. We've seen off the Ferraris. The Ferraris have totally disappeared. I think we're looking at 5th is the first of the Ferrari. It's Bentley, Aston Martin, Bentley. So yeah, so it's gone almost from a Ferrari track in qualifying to people loving the Bentley. My lap time at the moment, not the best in the world. Best is at 2 minutes 21. That is slow. I've seen a lot quicker than that. I think into the 2:16s. So yeah, not the best, and something I'm not proud of. But everything's running relatively smoothly at the moment. Hammer slowly starting to fall back now onto us. Could be an issue with back markers. Obviously, I'm not really sure. I mean, they're half a minute down the road. I can't see us coming anywhere near them, to be honest. They shouldn't come into play, and they shouldn't affect the outcome of this race. But I think I think Ambrose could have Hammer at some point. Although, just again looking at these times, something's gone on because they are just rapidly falling away. I'll just have to allow the timing screen again to sort itself out. Not really sure what's going on here. Let's just see how we do. So Ambrose, so Hammer's disappeared. Ambrose is now in the pits? That's not right. Surely not. What is going on with the timing screen? As we come through Eau Rouge and Radion. Let's just allow it to sort it out. No, right, so Brea is now 18 seconds behind me, and third is now the Ferrari. So Ambrose and Hammer have, something's gone on there. Something, yeah, massively's gone on, and now I'll be honest, it looks to me with 2.5 minutes left that only a massive issue or system crash is going to potentially stop me from winning this race. 18 seconds for second for Brea to find me. I don't think that's going to happen, you know. And certainly there's no back markers also in play. So providing I don't end up losing it, although we run totally, see, yeah, that, okay, that was very wide on my behalf. Total, that was a massive mistake. That wasn't necessarily taking track limits as such. That was just, I got my braking slightly wrong and just run wide rather than taking full advantage of the outside of the corner there. So I'm hopefully just trying to peg it back a bit. You know, there's no point pushing too much now, really. It's going to pretty much be this lap and one final lap to go. I don't mind Brea really getting too close behind me, but he's got to find a massive amount of time, and the only time he's going to find that is if I make a mistake. So coming up through some of the fastest corners in Europe and Blanchimont before the chicane. Take that well. Coming up into the braking distance here, I can't even tell you where the best braking distance is because there's no real markers to look at. It's almost guesswork, I've found, going into that chicane. Really can't find the best place. I'm very inconsistent at that corner a lot of the time. And now we're going to start the last lap of the race. As we head down the hill, we run a tiny bit wide, which is not normally what I tend to do. And then we've got Eau Rouge and Radion coming up. Got yellow flags waving. What does that mean? We've got anyone there? It doesn't look to be anyone. And then up the Camel Straight. So this is the last lap, and it looks like we're going to win because Brea is now over 20 seconds behind. And I think, do you know what? Although I don't win many races in Assetto Corsa Competizione, I have to admit that when it comes to drives and consistent drives, That's how you end up getting some of these places. You try to avoid the spinners, you try to avoid getting involved in squabbles on the track, and if you can keep out of those, then technically you're going to do okay. And I didn't think at the beginning of the race that I would be coming in first position and beating those Ferraris off the line. So we drop down the hill for one last time under the total bridge, trying to avoid the curb on the inside there, but letting it run slightly wide. Don't want to upset the car too much, but luckily the curbs around here are quite car friendly. Hammer's now up to 4th, but he's 37 seconds behind, so he's got to have been quite annoyed by the outcome of this race. Almost slightly touched the gravel on the outside there as we come through for one last time. Into the chicane. Here we go. Back onto the start-finish straight, and we're going to take our victory here in Spa on a 15-minute race, which is 6 laps. We go through and we take the victory, which I just did not expect at all, and wow. So that's it for today's race. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, click the like button, and yeah, more YouTube videos to come soon. So until next time, see you soon.